We spoke about the airline. We came from TTAS to BWE to where we are now with CAL. And clearly, there are issues. And madam, I'm sure that your phone rang off the hook
Yes,
when the fiasco with the pilots calling in sick. Let's speak to the issue. What is really the problem with CAL? Because it's an ongoing situation. From time to time, there's fallout with pilots and other part of the arm of perfect and seamless, and which should be the airbridge situation.
I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. I don't think it's ever going to be seamless. We have to be open and frank about the reality of our situation. And I'm glad that you're, I wouldn't say old enough, I'm glad you're senior enough to talk about TTAS, because TTAS was around before I was born. Right. A matter of fact, TTAS dissolved somewhere around 1974. I was born in 1982. So we had to do a research to get to see what TTAS was all about. But we have made several attempts as a country to properly serve the domestic airbridge. And no matter what form, what edition you bring it in, it's always, we lose profit, we don't even break even. We're operating at a loss. It's not a luxury, it's an essential service. So we've tried TTAS, that failed, and they pretty much usually wrap up in 6 years. Then we tried Tobago Express, you remember Tobago Express, and that also wrapped up in 6 years, from 2001 to 2007. It was 2007 that Caribbean Airlines came on the scene with a new business model towards making the money on the regional routes and the international routes towards trying to support the local route, because it is a highly subsidized service. Whilst you pay $400 for a ticket, on every seat you're losing $300 to $600. It's in subsidy, it's in taxpayers' money. So first thing first, to own an airline. No other country in the Caribbean owns and operates an airline like we do. Even Grenada, that has other support in other islands, don't have an airline to support that. Antigua, Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we saw what happened to Liat. Remember when I was going to school in Barbados, we depended on Liat, but now there's no Liat to talk about, because you just cannot maintain it economically. But in Trinidad and Tobago, we have decided over the years to face the loss, because it is an essential service. It's about people getting to school, it's about the movement of goods, it's about movement of services, and so on. So we have to have Caribbean Airlines operating between Trinidad and Tobago, of course, that is supported by investment in the ferry. We just purchased, for the first time in our history, 2 spanking new ferries at $500 million each. That's over $1 billion in purchasing the equipment itself. I'm not talking about maintenance yet. I'm not talking about paying the loans each month towards that, the equipment, the ships, right? And then that service is subsidized at $400 million per year. So I join with Tobagonians, because I experience it too, in the frustration and the stress that we feel by the inefficiency of the domestic airbridge. However, I think we also have to recognize that it's a loss-making operation. COVID dealt a really hard blow on the airline services throughout the entire world. Some people lost their jobs, some airlines are no more. But Caribbean Airlines kept going. We would have reduced the number of flights, tried to work on the schedule and so on, based on the advice of Caribbean Airlines as it relates to their operations. And it's going to take us some time to get back to where we used to be. And of course, what happened on Monday is not something normal that happens every day. It was my first time in my life, and I'm 41 years old, experiencing a mass sick out by pilots that pretty much almost shut down the country. It was secretly and carefully planned, and secretly and craftily implemented. Nobody knew it was coming. It came like a thief in the night. And so as government, we had to move very quickly to get to court, to get the injunction, to get these pilots to return to work, and then to get Ministry of Works and Transport to get the ferry port authority to carry the passengers that were supposed to be traveling by plane, and then to quickly get the resources and direct the resources towards wet leasing international aircraft and services to serve the international passengers. Over 1,400 of them were displaced, and I think I'm contented to know that today we can safely say that we're back to proper operation. So major inconvenience, not necessarily a major disaster as the government was able to arrest it quickly, but it's certainly not something we'd like to experience again.
Okay.